This week on Ebert and Roeper, a destructive alien befriends a lonely little girl in Lilo and Stitch.
Wow.
Also, Jodie Foster rides shotgun on the dangerous lives of altar boys.
And Vivica A. Fox falls for a cross-dressing basketball star in Juwanna Mann.
Juwanna Mann? Juwanna Mann.
Juwanna Mann.
Yes, Juwanna Mann.
Whatever.
No one's gonna believe you're a woman. You did. You kind of created me. You're my agent.
A disgraced hoop star returns to the game as a dribbling tootsie in Juwanna Mann. It's coming up later in the show. One of 5 new movies we'll review. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Roger Ebert. Our first movie is a delightful animated surprise named Lilo and Stitch. It's an offbeat comedy from Disney aimed at adults as well as children, and it tells the story of an alien monster created to wreak havoc and how it escapes to Earth and lands on Hawaii. It's being chased by its alien masters, but disguises itself as a dog, and it's adopted by a little girl named Lilo, whose love slowly melts the monster's heart. She names it Stitch.
There. You know, you wreck everything you touch.
The movie is filled with sly pop culture jokes, including this one where Stitch seems to think he's Godzilla.
No more caffeine for you.
Instead of the forgettable tunes in a lot of animated movies, this one has 6 songs by Elvis Presley. And Lilo even tries to teach Stitch how to be an Elvis imitator.
This is the face of romance. She looks like she could use some lovin'.
Oh, we might have something.
Good. Now kiss her. I'm sure Elvis had his bad days too.
There's a thoughtful undercurrent in the movie dealing with ohana, which is the Hawaiian word for family. Lilo is being raised by her older sister who means well but is not a perfect mom, and they're under a lot of pressure from an unfriendly social worker who wants to break up their little family. That only gets more complicated when the family pet is a genetically engineered fighting beast from outer space. Lilo and Stitch is alive with surprises. It's a film that entertains the little ones but is sophisticated and witty enough for adults. The animation is mostly hand-drawn, not computer-generated, and it has a freshness and energy that is infectious.
Well, I think the little ones will be scared by this nasty little Stitch creature, and I think adults, at least this adult, was bored by it.
Oh, come on.
I like the relationship between the older sister and the little girl, and I like the Godzilla scene that we showed there, but that's about all I liked about this movie. The Elvis Presley songs, so what? They got Elvis Presley songs. They don't advance the story. They stop the story. And I don't think the animation is very good in this. It's very simple and basic stuff.
No, the animation...
And the story itself is just a rip-off of E.T.
The animation, which is mostly hand-drawn, is very fresh and very alive and very infectious. But apart from that, no kid living in our society is going to be afraid of Stitch.
A little nasty creature with those teeth that's biting into people and those legs that pop out of its torso from time to time.
And means well. Stitch is like all monsters. Kids immediately identify with monsters because kids feel like monsters. They don't fit in.
Stitch
Everybody blames them for
like
things they didn't do. You know, kids and monsters have a lot in common.
And you know what? The other alien creatures are kind of ugly and repulsive.
No, they're not ugly and
repulsive. And the story itself, it just manipulates you with the family stuff as well. So I found it to be a crushing disappointment.
10 times better than Scooby-Doo.
Well, that's not saying a whole lot.
Come on. 10 times? 8 times. Come on.
Staring at that wall over there is 10 times better than Scooby-Doo. I give thumbs down to Lilo and Stitch.
Really unfair.
We got to move on, all right? Our next movie, I did like this movie. It's called Sunshine State, an expertly drawn slice of life featuring a big and interesting cast, including Angela Bassett, Timothy Hutton, and Edie Falco from The Sopranos in a breakout role. Plantation Island is a fading Florida resort community where colorful but weary locals try to hang on while rival developers measure the place with all the subtlety of gators eyeing slabs of raw meat. Falco's character runs a local motel and diner, and Hutton plays one of those development gators.
You're from up north.
They tell me everybody on this coast is from somewhere else.
Not me. 6 generations on this sand pile, at least.
Well, that's impressive.
You go back that far, your people were either planters, slaves, or fugitives.
Angela Bassett is stellar as Desiree Perry, who returns to Plantation Island for the first time in about 25 years.
Well, Desiree. Never thought I'd live to see you back here.
That's James McDaniel, formerly of NYPD Blue, as Desiree's new husband, and Mary Alice as her mother. Mary Steenburgen is the underappreciated organizer of the Plantation Island Buccaneer Days Festival, and Gordon Clapp, also from NYPD Blue, plays her husband.
Even during all that bad stretch when you had your gambling problem, I always knew it wasn't gonna last forever, because you are my rock.
I thought the parade went awful well this year.
Sunshine State is one of the strongest efforts yet in the prolific career of writer-director John Sayles. I've always thought of Sayles as kind of a blue-collar Robert Altman. Here he creates characters and situations that are totally and sometimes painfully real, with the occasional flight of fancy to lighten things up in the form of some philosopher golfers led by the great Alan King. This is also the rare film that features an integrated cast but doesn't dwell on it. Yes, there are discussions about race, but their lives aren't about their race. Their lives are about dreams and disappointments, and how most of us experience a lot more of the latter in our lives.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I like the fact that Sayles gets a real sense of community, which he has done in a lot of his other films, too, where you feel that these people are not just put in order to be a representative of various categories, but that they live in this place, they share this space, and they share these concerns, and in particular the idea that an organic community of people who know each other and live there are going to be swept aside by these developers is not just simply left at that, but also you realize that a lot of the people who live there are tired of living there.
Yeah.
She's tired of running that motel.
Yeah, she really wants an out in here. But, you know, each one of these characters, there's got to be close to a dozen characters in this film. Each one of them are worthy of an entire movie. You could do about the Edie Falco character, or about this Flash football player that comes back. Everyone knows him as the Flash, and he got hurt. He's got a whole agenda. Each one of these characters is interesting enough. We see a lot of movies where there's not one character worth a whole film.
And in a lot of movies, somebody would take a position and defend it to the end. But, you know, in the entire movie, people have the option of changing their minds, of not being locked in the past and being locked in their position.
And not doing what conventional movie characters, you know, what you think you know they're going to do.
Coming up later in the show, Ian Holm plays another side of Napoleon in The Emperor's New Clothes. Plus, Jodie Foster in The Dangerous Lies of Altar Boys.
You're on a terrible downward spiral. I fear for you.
What do you say we go down to Little Tokyo and get some fireworks?
What do you need?
Nothing. I see you got them crunching numbers for you.
Please don't come in this room.
Some movies you only need to see once. Some movies you need to see less than once. Some movies, though, seem to grow and deepen and expand if you watch them more than once. Movies as different as Moulin Rouge and Mulholland Drive. And my thumbs-up video this week is Wes Anderson's The Royal Tenenbaums, a movie that exists on the knife edge between comedy and sadness and can be hard to figure out after only one viewing. Gene Hackman plays Royal Tenenbaum, the patriarch of a strange, funny, bewildering family. He walked out on them and now is willing to say anything to talk his way back in.
I hear you're dying.
So they tell me.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've had a good run.
You don't look so sick, Dad.
Thank you.
Dinner time at the Tenenbaums is an emotional minefield.
Please don't get in the middle of this, Mr. Sherman. This is a family matter.
Don't talk to him like that.
Call me Henry.
I prefer Mr. Sherman.
Call him Henry.
The cast includes Angelica Houston as his wife and Ben Stiller, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Luke Wilson as his children, plus honorary and would-be Tenenbaums played by Owen Wilson, Danny Glover, and Bill Murray. The Royal Tenenbaums will be in stores July 9th on DVD and tape.
Also new on video this week, The Majestic. It's an overlooked fable from late last year from Frank Darabont, director of The Green Mile and The Shawshank Redemption. Jim Carrey gives one of his best performances as a B-movie screenwriter in the early 50s who loses his memory after an auto crash. But there's an entire village that believes he's their long-lost hometown war hero. And there's a new remastered DVD of Francis Ford Coppola's 1987 film about the Vietnam War, Gardens of Stone. Whereas Apocalypse Now took us into the heart of darkness, here we get the conflict as viewed from a U.S. military base where career military men James Caan and James Earl Jones are filled with cynicism and doubt about this war. But that doesn't mean Caan is willing to put up with carping from peaceniks.
How we doing?
We? Well, we really don't seem to be doing much of anything. We seem to be too busy drinking and shooting our mouths off.
Still America, Sergeant. In my opinion, we're slaughtering innocents over there, right, left, and center.
Well, see. Opinions. They're like acid. Everyone seems to have one. Come on.
Gardens of Stone and The Majestic, two excellent films about distinct periods in the mid-20th century.
You know, I share your admiration for The Majestic. I don't know why that movie was so overlooked. Maybe it was too long and thoughtful for the pre-Christmas rush.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie with good work by Jim Carrey.
Kind of got lost in the holiday shuffle. Okay, coming up later in Juwanna Mann, a pro basketball player gets thrown out of the league and makes a comeback in drag.
I'm here!
And coming up next, fantasy collides with reality in The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys.
Show me whatever that is.
It's my dad's sister.
William Blake. A little advanced, Mr. Sullivan, don't you think?
Jodie Foster is a tightly wound nun with a peg leg, an Irish lilt, and a tendency to sing Kumbaya in The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys. Any more of a broad stereotype and she'd be rapping students' knuckles and warning that patent leather shoes really do reflect up. This is a well-acted but entirely too predictable story set in a small town in the 1970s. Kieran Culkin and Emile Hirsch play best friends in junior high. When they're not getting into trouble, they're plotting comic book fantasies.
We should do a story with different episodes.
Moron. Anyway, if we're gonna have a story, then we've got to have a bad guy. So, who's gonna be the bad guy?
After the boys swipe a statue of St. Agatha, they're hauled in for questioning by Sister Assumpta and Father Casey, played by Vincent D'Onofrio.
Do you know anything about this?
No, sister.
Mr. Sullivan?
Produced by Foster, directed by Peter Kerr, and based on a popular novel by the late Chris Furman, The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys is a noble failure. The dark secret of the Jenna Malone character, the attempts to kidnap the statue and a cougar, the troubled families, none of this quite rings true. I thought the young actors were strong, but the material is too thin and too cliched, even with Todd McFarlane's animated sequences to stretch the story to feature length. And as a Catholic, I'd love to see a movie with a nun who's somewhere between a saint and a sadistic disciplinarian.
You know, I agree with you. I did feel, though, that the animated sequences did work, and I would have liked to have seen more of them. In fact, obviously, that style would work in an animated film. But I feel that maybe kidnapping St. Agatha's statue would have been a logical climax for this film. And the entire sequence involving the cougar is so stupid, so dumb,
it is
so improbable, and so ludicrous that it just breaks the film. You just feel like you can't follow it there.
Well, there's a point where one of the best friends says to the other one, this is a stupid plan and it's not going to work. And you're like, well, yeah, then why do you keep going forward with it? And I love Jodie Foster, but really, this is not one of her best performances.
Well, one of the things they're trying to show about the Jodie Foster character is that she really does care for these kids.
Yes.
So we get a few close-ups of her looking tender or thoughtful about them, but the kids don't see those close-ups.
Right.
It doesn't seem to really apply since she's Nunzilla as far as they're concerned. So I don't know what the movie was really trying to do with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Our next movie is a historical fantasy named The Emperor's New Clothes, starring that quiet and wonderful actor Ian Holm as Napoleon, or at least he knows he's Napoleon, although everybody else seems to doubt it. The film opens with Napoleon in exile on the island of St. Helena, planning an escape while a double takes his place. After he gets to Paris, the double will confess, and the French people will rise up and hail Bonaparte. At least, that's the plan. But the double turns out to really like being Napoleon.
There's some more hot water, Marshal. I feel a chill.
The time has come. Do you hear me? You must complete your mission. You must reveal your true identity.
And that's Ian Holm playing Napoleon's double, as well as the real Napoleon, who has a hard time of it in Paris, since the only man who would believe him has just died. He meets his widow, nicknamed Pumpkin, and played by Eben Yaila.
All my life, I have striven to be master of my own destiny. Here, I feel it slipping away from me. I have become a stranger to myself.
Eugene, has anyone else seen you like this?
Does she believe he's really Napoleon? Well, no, but she falls in love with him anyway and tries to protect him from what she sees as dangerous delusions.
No, you're not Napoleon! I hate Napoleon. He's filled France with widows and orphans. He took my husband. I won't let him take you.
The Emperor's New Clothes could have been a comic historical romp, and you could almost imagine the Monty Python version, but the movie goes in a different direction and is surprisingly sweet and gentle with more smiles than laughs. It's about the mystery of human identity. You might question whether Napoleon, having lost Josephine, could be happy with Pumpkin, but Ian Holm is able to show us a man gradually becoming accustomed to simple pleasures, and the movie is really about the process of his self-discovery. Holmes' performance is subtle, observant, and kind of lovable.
Oh, it's very lovable. And yeah, you have to take this huge flight of fancy from the very beginning of this film, because the real Napoleon was this warmonger. I don't think he would have been happy helping people dispense fruit in Paris and, you know, helping just a few people out and becoming the charming, colorful character in the square there. But you know what? Ian Holm carries the film, and he's wonderful. It's a sweet movie. You just have to either buy into it or not.
You have to buy in, because theoretically, if the real Napoleon got back to Paris, there would be a lot of people there who recognized him, and there would be a lot of things he could tell them to prove that he was who he said he was. But that doesn't really happen, and it's okay.
But I like what you're saying about, you know, your sense of identity and where you get it from, and especially because of Ian Holm, we'll recommend this. Okay, our next movie I am not recommending. It is Juwanna Mann, a retread cross-dressing comedy that wants to be Tootsie, but doesn't even reach the level of Big Mama's House. It's a shame that the premise is too outlandish for even a Saturday morning cartoon, because I kind of like the cast, led by Miguel A. Nunez Jr. as Jamal, an unbelievably obnoxious pro basketball player whose antics get him kicked out of the league. Kevin Pollak plays his agent, who tells Jamal that nobody will hire him, which is exactly what Sidney Pollack told Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie, come to think of it.
Oh, now, I don't want you to just think of me as your agent. I'm also your friend.
Oh, that is so sweet, Lauren. And I don't want you to only think of me as just your client, because I am also your ex-client, biatch. Got you, didn't I?
Nunez has some talent, but let's face it, you'd have to be blind and stupid to believe he's a woman. Yet the entire world of Juwanna Mann falls for the con. And of course, there's a plucky gal who becomes his best friend, played by Vivica A. Fox, and of course he falls in love with her. And, of course, you know the rest. Juwanna Mann is simplistic, silly, and tedious.
You know, it's funny that I was just saying you could forgive the Napoleon picture for all kinds of logical impossibilities. And yet, if a movie doesn't work, you won't forgive it anything. For example, if it's revealed that a player in the Women's League for an entire season has been a man, don't they forfeit those games?
You would think.
And if the rules are that you cannot dunk in the Women's League, how come he wins the big game by dunking and nobody says anything?
Well, now you're asking smart questions which have no business in this conversation.
Okay, when we come back, 51 additional minutes in Cinema Paradiso, the original version. For my Take Two segment this week, I'm choosing Cinema Paradiso, which won the Oscar for Best Foreign Film in 1990 and figures on a lot of lists of great movies. But the version we've all seen is about 2 hours long, and director Giuseppe Tornatore's original version was 51 minutes longer than that. Now Miramax, which cut the film in the first place, has generously restored it and is advertising, discover what really happened to the love of a lifetime. Unlike some director's cuts that add a few short scenes, this new version essentially adds an entire third act, showing the romance between the teenage Toto, played by Marco Leonardi, and Elena, played by Agnese Nano.
Proprio così brutto, eh?
Hey.
Toto is now the village projectionist since his friend Alfredo went blind in the fire, but the future of the Cinema Paradiso hangs in doubt.
Ma senza il mutuo, come potevo comprarla l'apparecchiatura? Se non ci organizziamo di questi tempi, facciamo la fine che ha fatto l'opera dei pupi.
Molto grande, molto piccola, molto piccolo.
You know, it's a funny thing. I was interested in the new material in this longer cut, including the sad story of how Toto and Elena meet again years later. But at the same time, I have to say the shorter version is probably a better movie. It has a kind of perfection to it. If you love the original Cinema Paradiso, you're going to want to see this version to learn the rest of the story. But I doubt if the film would have become so beloved in the first place if this version had been released.
Looking ahead to next week's openings, we'll review Adam Sandler in Mr. Deeds.
Sorry about that, dude!
Okay, recapping this week's movies, we split over Lilo and Stitch. 2 thumbs up for Sunshine State. 2 thumbs down for The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys. 2 thumbs up for The Emperor's New Clothes and 2 thumbs down for Juwanna Mann.
Remember, you can hear all of our recent reviews at ebertandroeper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Sarah Michelle Gellar in Harvard Man. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Well, you know, this weekend, the best thing about this weekend is Minority Report opened. We talked about it on last week's show.
It is a great American movie, and incidentally, Lilo and Stitch, you are completely wrong about.
Yeah, but I'm not wrong about Minority Report, remember?
You're right about Minority Report. You're wrong about Lilo and Stitch.
You can't beat the taste of a Quiznos oven-toasted Santa Fe smoked turkey sub with bacon. Try one today.
Toasty.
These babies were conceived using the Clear Plan Easy Fertility Monitor. It identifies more fertile days each cycle than any leading method. Clear Plan, clear results.
AOL is very easy, very simple to use.
I love hearing,
"You've got mail."
America Online, so easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
What's gotten into Hot Pockets brand? Now they're stuffed with more filling.
More filling, more to love. Hot Pockets.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
Stop and go to Meineke for brakes and expert auto service you can trust. Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.